2 of those rounds that they lost was due to Arakazi getting a 4K in each of them. So let's kind of just put them two to a side. That's near enough a 7-1 win when you're playing Siege on the basis of quote-unquote proper Siege. That's really good from them, and it's an improvement from what we saw last season. And that's what, it's a very similar story to how we just described Fav. Can they continue that kind of improvement? Can they keep it consistent? That's the big thing in my mind. For Reject, sure, they got a few rounds against Damwon Kia. However, it was kind of cheesy rounds. It was big clutches. It was the repick with Glass and Ying and Smokes and all that sort of stuff. So for Reject, I'm looking at them. Can they actually build some rounds by playing Siege their way without kind of cheesing rounds away? So there's a couple of intricate stories that I'm kind of wondering how it will play out across this game.
You need a bit of proper Siege, is what you're saying.
I'm a Siege purist.
We need to see some proper Siege. We need to see some proper Siege out of Reject and see what they've genuinely got in the locker, because as you say, those, cheese plays, they're not always going to work. They're going to get you the odd round here and there, absolutely, but you're going to need more of a game to fall back on. I've got a feeling that this team might just have one. We'll see as the weeks progress. But for right now, it is Playday 2. It's Chalet, it's Talon versus Reject. I'm looking forward to watching this Talon side. They were entertaining in Playday 1. I was one of 2. There was only me and Emmy, I think, who predicted Talon to win. I've known this side has got wins in them for a while now. I was surprised in the 6th place finish. I think it could have gone differently for them last year, is what I will say. I think they could have done better. There was a few results that really sort of cost them dearly through the process, but we'll see if they can improve upon that this year. So they're going to start off on the defence. It's going to be the top floor of Chalet. It's going to be master bedroom, so we'll see one of 2 things from Reject. It's either going to be getting control of this southwest corner, which is mezzanine and library, or alternatively, they're going to be pushing into the top of the map. You see that observer? I think it's Medic's doing this one. He keeps spinning it round just as I'm about to... It certainly is Medic's. He's giving us his trademark spin. But the thing with Medic's is, you see, me and Medic's have been working together for a long time, so he knows when I'm doing these explanations where I'm going to go next. And if you notice, he knew then that I was going to say off to the right of your map, and he spun it. He's playing with me.
He's keeping you on edge.
He spun it just before I said it, so I had to say the top of the map, which would be the Solarium side. But great observing so far. I think Easy and Medics both always deserve a good shout out because they do a great job.
Absolutely. They do a fantastic job in terms of the way that they listen to what the casters are saying. I know this is only my 2nd time on cast.
And play with us. Toy with us.
They listen to us. They explain things through the visuals, and then from time to time they toy with us as well. But absolutely, this site that we see, the Solarium attack that you was alluding to, it's a very EU-centric attack, and it's the reason that this site is very rarely played in EU, because our teams in EU have got so good at attacking it. However, what we're seeing coming out from Reject is completely different. They've come in via the basement, using the book to try and clear these roamers out. Soldier, he'll be the first person dead, although Demic does get a refrag onto Take there.
It's going to be 4 versus 4 as we come into the mid-round here, but once again we get that direct trade as this is going to pick up no time. Salty on hand, however, to take him down and get the refrag. That's going to leave us now 3 versus 3, and Reject progressing well through these roamers, but Talon certainly not being sort of made shy by that. They're quite happy to continue moving around this map on the lower floor, not too worried about sight. They're sort of slowly heading back in that direction, but they're happy to keep the pressure on elsewhere and not really give much time for Reject to stop and think here.
Canos will hear the rappel sound. I wonder if it's just been baited here, because the rappel's not on the double window. It's actually on that little ledge there, just at the side. There's a very safe rappel. They have an idea that Canos is there. They have an idea he's coming out, and they will get the kill on Canos. Great play by baiting the rappel and holding the run out there.
Absolutely beautiful. Almost she's like taking candy from a baby, you could say.
Oh, I see what you did there.
I held on to it from Playday 1. Don't you worry, I've got plenty in the bank. That is going to be a great kill, realistically. Joking aside from Reject there, it was absolutely beautifully engineered. It's what we love about Siege, the way that you can play with those sound mechanics, the positioning, the way that you can bait players into actions, and that one will have felt satisfying, absolutely no doubt about it. 3 versus 2 now. They can start mounting some pressure, and what about that pressure coming in from Salty with the vertical nade? He's looking for more. He's not going to find any, but it's all up to Demic now in a 1 versus 3. He gets one. Does he get two? Yes, but shut down by Taraniki on the reverse angle. And that is going to be the opening round for Reject on the attack.
Really nice attack. And it's not often you say that when an attack doesn't actually shape a form, because you came in the pre-round of that and saying it's either a library side attack or a Solarium side attack.
Reject went,
nah, it's our attack. It's a Reject attack.
We do what we want.
We'll come in these
We reject your idea,
it's gone. Almost kind of random, not random. I don't want to say random because it's doing a disservice. They realised that there was roam, there was a lot of fluidity coming out of Talon, and they waited for that movement to walk back towards site, and they baited them into the crosshairs. It was really smart. Got themselves the advantage, and then they just had twice the last two players on site. One dice to nade, another dice to... Inevitably, it was a 3v1. You just refrag it out. Lovely attack.
You do. I mean, there was a risk at the end from Reject. The problem that they had...
They nearly lined up.
They lined and they stacked themselves right up, and we saw Demic manage to take two of them. And I tell you what, a stray bullet in a different place, and that's all three of them going down, and you sat scratching your head wondering how you just lost it. But as it was, Taraniki was able to find those final shots, and that's going to leave us 1-0 to Reject. They're on the attack. They're on Chalet. They'll be expecting to pick rounds up. They're going to be expecting to try and take over that top floor, I would have thought, but as we saw in round one, we might just see a little surprise coming out of Reject. They might try to push lateral, just get control of Fireplace, get that wall open, get in and get a plant down. We'll see how this progresses, but immediately it looks like there is going to be plenty of attention to the top floor, and that is beginning with Solarium and Piano.
C4 misses, and Demic's also got another one. He's held this in his hand for probably the past 20 seconds. He's waiting to hear the rappel up close, and then he's presumably going to go for it. Goes for it now, and it does connect onto Take. That's a great opening kill from Demic, and great use of the sound. He had the C4 in his hand for a good 30 seconds before he threw it, so that the attackers did not hear the rip sound.
A little bit unfortunate for Take there. He was the man that hadn't been on rappel. The other guy's been on rappel, giving the sound away. Demic lines up the nitro, and then Take gets it right in the face as he pops himself up. Unfortunate for him, but kills continue to come, and we find ourselves now 4 versus 3. The advantage lying with the defenders of Talon right now. One still out on the rappel. In fact, Reject completely outside of the map here, halfway through the round almost, and they haven't managed to get themselves established inside of Chalet as of yet. Trying to hold the angles, trying to work the flashes, trying to deal with trophy stairs. A nade comes in, but it's not going to be as successful as the explosives that came in the opposite direction, and somehow Fresh, Demic continues to hold on.
This is the big win condition, is how long Demic stays alive. At some point, he needs to die for Reject to do their attack. It looks like, because those two nades have failed, they've gone straight off that attack. They've called a plan B straight away. I like this. I like this decisiveness. They haven't been able to deal with Demic. They're not in the best scenario, but they're trying to be decisive about it.
Just playing inside of sight there, Heady. He's trying to hold things down. The thing is, Talon now have got a spare man, so they can start to sit back. They can play a little deeper. They don't need to keep the pressure on constantly. They're on the defence, and the onus is not on them to get things moving here. Taraniki just using those flashes, but with no nades to follow in, he's unlikely to find the kill onto the man on trophy stairs unless he follows it in himself, which he now starts to do. But the flash effect isn't there, so Demic has got a nice easy kill, and whilst he did manage to pick up Heady, he did use the opportunity to get in through the window. He wasn't ultimately able to solve the problem at hand with those flashbangs, and it's cost him. And now Salty inside of sight, he's trying to get anything going here, but it's Demic, it's that man once again that they failed to deal with the entire round, and he has just won it without moving his feet.
Solarium attacks, the key component is always Solarium stairs. You need a bulletproof way to kill the player on Solarium stairs. Now, Demic did a fantastic job at getting up and down the stairs, using his movement to dodge the nade explosions, only taking chip damage. Him staying alive just completely scuppered the attack coming out, forced kind of a plan B, right? And it really won them the round. So big props to him playing that position perfectly.
It was absolutely spot on. And definitely next time around, Reject Gonna have to think about that. The thing is, they didn't necessarily do anything wrong. They just didn't manage to get the kill. The nades came in, as you say. Demic's movement was good, but he was able to move a little bit too freely at the bottom of trophy stairs for me. I don't think anybody was on trophy window at the point that the nades were going down, so it just left him that little bit of freedom to be able to move around and avoid those explosives. And so I think Reject just need to get a little bit tighter on that. If they can sharpen that up a bit, they'll get that kill.
It's why you've seen in other regions, for example, that you'll see a butt go in garage from below.
Yes.
Because they can't play the bottom of that stairs. They've got to die to the nade because they can't have that movement. But it's things that Reject will learn. It's those small things in this type of competition that win and lose your rounds, unfortunately. It's the 1%, and Reject will learn that going through. For the most part, they've had 2 pretty decent attacks, so I'm looking forward to see what we get out of the next 4.
Going to be round number 3 then, 1 apiece as it stands, and we're going to have Talon going back to Master and Office. They lost this back in round number 1. Reject just prod and poked everywhere, really. They came from every side, every angle. There was just nowhere safe for Talon and their roamers. But this time, I think it looks like Talon just playing it a little bit more passively. They've got 1 out on the roam that I can see, but other than that, it seems like they're just a little bit more locked in. Blue stairs, mezzanine, Master and Office, as you would expect, and they're going to make Reject do a little bit more work here rather than letting them catch them out on the run.
He's in piano, he downs 1, he knows there's another player there, he peeks, he will lose his life. Plant is, however, going down with 2 minutes on the clock, and all hell is breaking loose. It's up to no time, has gone in the Master double window, does get taken out, and that round is over before it even started, Tim.
Absolute blink of an eye stuff there, and it's Talon ultimately as the defenders that will come away with it. And that is, I mean, again, a nice attempt from Reject.
They spotted an opportunity.
And they weren't scared to go for it. And for me, that's the sort of message that they need to send ahead of themselves. It's not always going to work. It was exactly the same with the Ying play that did work back in Playday 1. They see an opportunity. If teams know that, teams are then going to get a lot more conscious about, right, what's our setup? And they might start overthinking things because they're too concerned. Or they might be too conservative because they know if they send 2 or 3 roamers away from site, that Reject are just going to rush them and take the opportunity. So it's not a bad message to send ahead of themselves, really, but it didn't work out this time, and that leaves us now 2-1 to Talon coming into round 4, and we're going to see a defense of Barton Gaming.
Barton Gaming is all about the power positions. Now, we're talking this is against conventional attacks, so it might not play out this way with the way Reject have been attacking. However, what you tend to see is a lot of teams start in the solar office area. They try and then take control of mezzanine, library, this kind of ivy hallway going down to blue stairs. Ultimately, they want to control vertically above the game's site, which you see here. They then look to plant behind the half wall, and that's the end goal. It comes down to time management. If the attack manages their time well, they more often than not get the plant down, win the round. If they don't manage time well, they don't.
We'll see how that clock is managed now then. Salty, knock fresh. He's just working his way through basement. There could be a little coming together down on this bottom floor because we've got Demic down there with him on the frost. I'm not sure who is aware of whom right now, but as the next 30 seconds pans out, I think we're going to find that Demic is not aware that the knock is down there with him. Of course, not being especially quiet when sneaking around, and that barricade that's gone up, just notify him if you move quickly, Salty. There you go. He sees him. He knows the opportunity's there, but he just can't find him. Demic going to take half health. He's going to dip away, and he's going to just try to spray down those soft walls, see if he can find anything onto Salty, but he cannot. There's a little bit of me, and I don't want to get critical because these guys are way better than me, but if you hear a barricade going up, go and shoot through the barricade, because you know exactly where that player is. Where going through the wall, he actually shot too close to the wall and was missing the shots. So for me, get it through the barricade.
I think we need to tell him that, Ace, after this game is up. But all in all, we've had a minute and a half, and we've kind of seen an attack shaping up from Reject in terms of they've got office control, they've got piano control. It's now dealing with the blue shield that you see is protected by multiple Jaeger ADSs and Canos. He can be absolutely devastating from this position. It relies on a lot of coordination and a lot of burn, as you see him coming in now.
Still going to have the nade yet to follow. It will, and drops the shield. That makes Canos' position a little harder to hold on to. The nade comes in. Ineffective once again, as they were against Demic on the trophy stairs previously. But Aziz it is who ultimately opens things up with a kill onto Salty. So that is going to be the knock, who's not going to be having any more impact inside of this round fresh. I'm treating you to all of them, don't you worry. You don't get the opportunity with me too often, so I'll roll them all out for you. Now then, another kill comes in. It's going to be Candy this time onto Canos. Levels us out at 4v4. Nitro! Heady, he's going to find Candy 3v3 as this bloodbath continues. It's back, it's forth, it's like a rubber band, just bouncing from one side to the other. Take onto Soldier, no time onto Aziz, and in a 1v3, time is all that Heady can hold on to here. He's just got to hope that he can try and close this round out. 20 seconds left to go. He's going to creep up blue stairs. Does he manage to find one on the rear side? No! Take shuts him down, and that's going to be the round to Reject. 2-2.
Really nice drone at the end there, because the Mute was in a massive position to make a play, to retake up onto Library, to potentially make a 1v3 play. But you saw the yellow ping coming out. There was probably a very hidden drone up near the default camera, very hard to see as you're going back up that staircase. Gets rid, and that's a great round. The refrag ability on Reject there, every time they died, somebody else refragged, and they just kept refragging into a 3v1 position. Really nice attack.
Really nice attack indeed, and we're going to move now into round number 5. We are almost at the end of the first half. 2-2 and very little to separate these two teams so far. They've been going very, very well on both sides. They've had their big moments, and more importantly, they've taken the opportunities. Both teams at times have taken those opportunities that have been put in front of them. And that is always an important factor. Now then, Reject, can you continue pressing here? Because at the minute, Talon, I think, are going to be happier with this first half. Defending on Chalet, if they can take 3 or even 4 rounds, which is still a possibility, they're going to be fairly confident that they can get in and get the work done.
If you remember previously, so the last time we went to this kitchen dining site, it was exactly this. It was Demic with a C4 in hand way too early, and Medics knows exactly what I'm going to refer to. So, if Reject do the same attack, it's all about if they deal with Demic and what their adaptation is. Now, you see the Buck. He's droning out Garage. This could be exactly what we suggested, is that he wants to go into Garage to hold the staircase from below, which actually shifts the dynamic of the first fight, is whether Soldier can deal with Candy or not.
This is it. They're bringing the answer here. This is exactly what we wanted to see. It was what you picked up on, and it was the issue of dealing with Demic. And if they can do that and they can find that immediate adaptation to fix this problem, then that will be an impressive step for Reject. Going to go in and just makes Demic's lives hard work here. He's overstepped, really. He's got himself, and there you go. He escapes, but it's also job done in that he's been moved.
Exactly. It's job done. I don't know if they necessarily know it, because we've just seen the grenade go down there. I think as soon as we see a drone that checks out that position, they can now go into Solarium, they can now go into Master, pending Canos kind of not stopping them rappelling in. But it's job done. It's a minute on the clock, and it's exactly what they didn't do in the first time that they attacked this. It allows them to actually set their attack up.
Oh, it's just finding Candy on the outside there. That is unfortunate. The Buck doing some great work so far to help move Demic, but ultimately will lose his life in that little peek out of the window, and Talon keeping themselves very mobile here. Demic, as you know, moved off Solarium stairs, but he's come back up the blue stairs, and he's up on this top floor to help continue the defence of Solarium as he gets himself inside a bathroom and continues that challenge. Half health, but still fighting as it stands. Taki just looking for that tight angle, but no, it's Demic. The man himself, after the big long rotate, is going to find Taki, take him down, and leave us now in a 5v3. And
the big problem with Reject is they've allowed players to escape. They've not killed them. They didn't kill Demic. The double window player there has allowed players to cross from piano to bathroom, allowed Demic to get back in that position to get that kill. And it's now a 3 versus 5. We're back in we're back to square one of try and figure out an attack, try and jump in the window and find a couple of kills, which is exactly what we'll see here. But Canos, he's in an off position. No time. He hears no time, but he's letting him go up the stairs, and Canos is just waiting his time out.
No time moving across the top floor into Piano patiently, but they still haven't dealt with this top floor. They're going to lose another life near enough. Tadarniki being taken down, and it feels like it's a matter of time. There you go, Aziz Demic pick them up, and that is going to be round 5 going to Talon. 3-2 on the defence of Chalet, and I feel like Talon are just picking up a little bit of pace here, a little bit of momentum.
It feels like they've got control of most of these rounds. They did lose the bar in the last round. However, they've got control of the rounds, especially the ones they've won. They've got the opening kills in the past 4, and they really understand what the adaptations are going to be from Reject, and they're setting up their own counter adaptations. They took a couple of risks trying to escape from the positions that were being held, but they managed to escape, and then they can just front up the attack from there.
Master and Office will be the final defensive stand for Talon here in round number 6 before they move on to the attack. 50-50 so far. They lost it in round 1, won it in round 3. So Reject, they need to bring back maybe a little bit of unpredictability. But Talon, I'm sure, going to be as ready for it as they can be. They adapted well. In round 3's defence, we saw less committal to the roam. They had a little bit out there, but not quite as much as round 1. They scaled it back a little bit, played on site, picked up their kills, and it went a lot better for them.
One thing I love about Talon, I loved it when I watched them on Wednesday, and I'm loving it today, especially that round 3 that you talk about. It's just where Reject tried a quick play into site. They're unflappable. They've got a lot of composure in those scenarios where site has been taken from them as defences. They did it a lot against T1 on Wednesday, where they did a full retake, and they're happy playing that retake style, and it's a really kind of underutilized strategy within Rainbow Six. Is defenses allowing attacks to have the site and then completely retaking it back from them.
As is just aggressively holding Library at the minute, but he did have the hatch open to give himself an option for a quick escape if needs be. As it happens, he didn't need to. He's just got himself out onto the mezzanine, but he's going to be facing up to a Montagna before all too long. And again, I like this out of Reject. You know, they've tried the rush, they'll try the shield, they'll try a number of different things to see what sticks. And I feel like that's not just a process within this game. It's a process overall, probably through stage 1, to see this works, this doesn't work, to really trial it out and see what sticks with them as a team. But sticking at the minute is Tadarniki to Aziz as he manages to find that kill, clear out Library and Mezzanine, and allows Salty to continue his march forward.
They've cleared the ground. That's exactly what they wanted. They've got themselves an opening kill as well by kind of just... They did what they did well in the round 1 when they attacked this. They kind of waited for Talon to run into their crosshairs. That's exactly what happened. They now have Library control. They're presumably going to look to breach on this mezzanine wall here and then go for a plant around half wall. They've got everything they need, and importantly, they've got 90 seconds to do it with.
Hibana just getting the Excaros pellets onto the office wall there, but a little bit of work is going to need to be done to clear off the mute jammer that is preventing them opening. That will be done nice and easy by no time underneath, and that's going to leave us now 5v4 with the breach open and Reject in a position to potentially think about getting in and putting a diffuser down on the ground. Talon, for the time being, are holding onto their positions, and interestingly, they've got Demic underneath, Nitro in hand, and I'm not sure just how aggressively Reject moving towards him to try and deal with this, but there's going to be a lot of focus on this Monty inside of sight as well.
The plant's going to come in very shortly. They potentially know that there's one C4. However, if that C4 gets the kill on the planter, it's probably not going to, because they're planting breach. They know about the C4 player. They're disrupting him, and they're planting on the breach, not the half wall. The plant goes down. Crucially important and very, very, very smart plant coming out. 35 seconds left on the clock. Salty finds one on the Monty, but does get traded out. That's a big blow when you're trying to play a post plant, because the Monty can just front up and give live information. Demic's trying to flank. We talked about the retake from Talon. We know they like it, but they've only got 24 seconds to pull it off. Demic potentially knows there's one Library. Does kill one, gets traded out immediately. Take knows where he's got an LMG. Swing, shoot, swing the next, shoot, and get the kills. Reject with a fantastic round there.
Yeah, well played from them. They, as you say, recognise the setup of the defence and were able to not only work around it, but to take advantage of it and to play into it beautifully. So Reject levelling things up at 3-3 on their attack. Talon, I still get the feeling, won't mind that too much, because we do expect the attackers to see themselves with a little bit of an advantage here on Chalet. So a 4-2 attacking half wouldn't be any surprise, and that would put Talon, of course, now in the driving seat. But But this first round particularly is going to be important for me. You need to see a good defence come out of Reject here. They need to lock this down, because otherwise they could find themselves on a slippery slope towards the end of this game.
I'm curious about the site selection as well, because Bar normally limits itself to sitting behind shields, playing power positions, recognising the value of having 5 people alive late round. That's not necessarily what Reject are known for. They're known for getting a little bit aggressive, being a little bit fast on the feet, peaking angles, which means on a site like Bar, if they do that and they get punished for that, it's going to be very, very hard to defend it. I would assume that Reject would be, in terms of the way they play their team, a little bit better suited to a site such as Wine Cellar, where you can really try and deny the whole map entry, have a lot of fluid movement.
Tachanka on side as well in the hands of Taraniki, so we'll see. Currently being used for remodelling, but we'll see just where those Shumiko canisters are deployed particularly. It's an alternative to smoke, but Take is on the smoke, but you will notice has the FMJ, so will likely be playing elsewhere rather than just looking to hold on to site. Now then, that is a misstep, I would call that, from Talon. The nade not going all the way through, not clearing off the bandit batteries. Out goes the next one, and that will do the job, allowing them into that lower garage. Now then, Salty is in place. If he moves quickly here, he'll get at least half of these and prevent it being... Oh. I think it's actually cleared all of them off. It has. They must have been touching over the little line in the middle there. So that's going to be at least 6 Escaros pellets wasted and no opportunity to get into Snowmobile Garage.
It's pretty poor, and it's the first nade hasn't only cost them health. Presumably the idea was the first nade gets the bandit batteries, the second nade goes through to stop the bandit trick.
It was still, the timing wasn't great anyway.
Yeah, it really, it's a bit of a misplay there from Talon.
It is.
They're going to have to go direct for Library here. They're nading out the little position in the corner. They've successfully moved the player, but Take is actually happy to just relocate. He's been allowed to relocate, finally does get killed by Hedy, and that's good. It's 5v4. They've probably got Library clear now, and they're going to look to start moving in. The next point of contact is going to be Candy playing on this top fireplace on the reinforcement with his utility around him. He's got a mute jammer, he's got an ADS.
I often speak about these positions. If you imagine where Taki was playing inside a library, you've got No Time and Candy, and they make a triangle together.
Yes.
And whilst that is in place, it's very difficult to move any of them. One corner has been taken away, which means the position for the remaining 2 is more perilous. But that being said, they are the 2 strongest corners. You can play mezzanine and top library stairs without anybody in library and still manage it. So right now, still a lot of work for Talon to do.
It means that they can somewhat try to ingress into library, but as you say, it's still difficult because these 2 positions, they aren't reliant on library control. And Aziz, he's probably got a crucial role to play in terms of moving in. Soldier does pick up one onto Candy. Salty finds one back. Aziz gets another one onto No Time. We're in a 2v4 and Salty's far off site. It's going to be all on Tadaniki to deny area until Salty gets back to help him.
You see a great example there of what I'm talking about. As soon as Candy gets taken out, no surprise that No Time gets taken out at the top of library stairs very quickly after, because you can just come in and use much more powerful angles when you don't have that lobby to deal with. Now then, Demic, he's going to find almost the last player for Reject here. It's 4 versus 1 now, and it's Tadaniki with that big old LMG in hand to try and win this one out. Gets one. Can he find any more? He's being pressured from multiple sides. Absolutely not. Soldier just goes headlong in there, finds his man and finds the round. That's Talon taking their first attack, and Reject, you're going to have to start finding some defences quickly, because believe me, on Chalet, this one could roll away quickly.
When I talk about proper siege, that's exactly what I mean in terms of you deal with your library player, you deal with power position 1. It doesn't matter the order that you deal with them in. You deal with power position 1, the library player. Then you deal with 2, the mezzanine player. Then you deal with 3, the top blue player. And then site is just yours to take however you want it.
They're going back to bar and gaming.
Little
bit of a concern.
Yeah, and it's very similar in that it doesn't necessarily suit Reject's playstyle. So to kind of lock yourself into the rigidity of having to play these power positions doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I'd like to see them play sites where they can be more fluid and they can rely on their gun skill, because they genuinely have been gunning very well today, especially on the attack. And so to lock themselves into these positions that we've just seen Talon dismantle, I've got to wonder what their adaptation is, because it's the same defensive lineup as well.
It's going to be the same setup. It's going to be the same setup. It's going to be, I think, the same players in the same positions, and they're going to be expecting a different outcome. And I'll be honest with you, Fresh, I'm not sure they're going to get one.
What usually happens for the attacks when this happens is they speed up.
Yes.
They get faster because they make assumptions that the same thing's happening, and therefore the same rooms are clear. Canos as well, he gets a kill onto Candy immediately. Even more pressure is taken by Reject here.
If you remember last time, Candy was the player playing mezzanine, so that is one of those three corners of that triangle that I talk about. So now, top library stairs, more difficult to hold. What we'd probably see, what I'd like to see, is Take moving out of library and into mezzanine, because mezzanine is more important than library in this situation. But at the minute, Take, he's holding himself fast inside a library. The problem with that is that it's going to be difficult for him to protect the man on library stairs. So either they've dropped away and ignored it, Aziz is going to find Taraniki inside his sight, and then can pressure library stairs from the rear side. Take does manage to find Hedy, manages to find another onto Soldier. He's doing well here. He's shutting them down and he's preventing the push, and that is a great adaptation from Reject, because they haven't tried to hold on to library stairs, which is the position I was concerned about with Take not relocating. Instead, they've relocated that player into library to support Take, and it's done fantastically well.
It's a little bit of naivety from Talon, and it was almost like a rush of blood. As soon as Aziz got the kill in sight onto the Shanka, they all went in. They tried to plant. They tried to use that as the trigger point, not appreciating that Take would still be on the vertical holes above that window. He gets himself 2 kills. He doesn't take a tick of damage as well, and he's now got support from Salty for when people might inevitably try and push him out of this position now.
I think Talon probably expected the same as I did.
That he moved, yeah.
Yeah, that he was likely to move himself to mezzanine and try to take up the position that Candy had lost. But the kills continue to rain in. Talon dealing well with library, able to adapt mid-round once again. They just need to find no time now. Demic, he's in a position to potentially get himself in and put this diffuser down on the ground, but no time. He's going to get mobile. He's going to move around, gets himself a freebie. The information was there. Finds Aziz on the cams, and it all comes down to a 1v1 inside of sight. Jaeger versus Nomad now then. Who's going to find the kill? Aziz sees his man. He knows exactly where he is. He's just waiting for the pixel. He sees him. The bullets rain in. The damage is done. No time. He's just jiggling backwards, forwards, trying to find any alternative angle that he can. Demic moves around and finds the kill. And that is going to be another round for Talon. But it was hard fought from Reject.
It was hard fought. It was... I don't know if they've benefited from kind of naivety, because you assumed that an adaptation would come in. I assumed an adaptation would come in. Talon assumed the adaptation would come in. It didn't, and they get 2 kills off the back. As in stage 3, Hedy and Demic came into this roster, and they had a pretty poor stage 3 in 2021. And we said that we'll judge them in stage 1 2022. Hedy last week, I think he had 13 kills. Demic this week, 16 kills. And he's doing that work that isn't the flashy work. He's not on the Ayana. He's not on the Sophia. He's playing the Nomad. He's doing a lot of setup, and then he's cleaning up for his team. He's getting the kills he should get, and, you know, he's playing it very well.
Going to be heading into round number 9 then, as the timeout will be taken. We'll see if Reject can fix the problems, if they can find the answers, if they can adapt quickly enough. They've certainly shown us an ability to do things differently, an ability to change on the fly. We'll see whether they've got the correct changes to be made here. They're going to be, this time, defending kitchen. That's the first change that I think was important. Don't
No,
keep...
it's basement.
Is it all the way down in basement?
Yeah.
Have they baited me? They have indeed. They had kitchen selected on the menu. I wrote it in my notes. And then they changed it late in the pick phase. Now then, it's a good choice. No matter what site they've gone to, they couldn't go back to bar and gaming again. That was my concern.
And it's one that I said would suit their playstyle more, because they can get a little bit active. You can see them. They're peeking west main windows there. They're punching a window. They're having a look out. Very unfortunate, actually, not to get the kill onto Aziz there. And it speaks to their playstyle. You can get on the alibi. You can get a little bit fraggy. You can get a little bit... You know, you see the hatch is soft there. That means there's reinforcements upstairs. They want to really try and take engagement away from the site.
Heady's just moving into pressure towards Trench. It looks like it's going to be a rear-sided push, very possibly from Talon. It's an attack that I've spoken about a number of times, an attack that you and I know well, Fresh. Yep. This is our speciality in the rank stack. I'm not sure that we've... I'd say we've got about a 90% win rate attacking this basement site. It's basically, you want to get the wall open at the bottom of Westminster, and it holds true in competitive play as well. When we've seen this happen, it works well. Get the wall open, exactly that wall at Trench, and get the wall open on the one ping at the bottom of Westminster. If you get those two walls open, you can get in behind those wine barrels and you can get the plant down without any challenge. Because so long as you've cleared pillar out, nobody can move through connector, nobody can move through blue, because you've got the cross angles from Trench door and you've got it from the bottom of West Main stairs.
It's so simple. You hold West Main, as you say, you hold the flank. They can only run through 2 doorways at you. You clear pillar, you hold this long angle with a nice ACOG, as you're going to see Demick doing. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get some more kills. And you get a very safe plant coming in.
You just need pillar
tucked in from behind pillar. You need to clear the pillar guy and then hold any swings that come from connector to pillar.
And that's exactly what's going to happen as Canos moves in. Important challenge and gets it. And then you see, look, the diffuser will move in very quickly from Heady now. They don't have the hatch. That is a problem, a big problem. They need to deal with that player upstairs. Soldier finds Salt. He does exactly that. Now is the time to push in Taranike. He's trying to hold from blue, but there's nothing that he can do to stop that diffuser going down. Out comes the Nitro. It's short. Candy finds Soldier, but the plant is there. They should be able to hold on to this now, but kills, they come back from Reject. 3 versus 2 as they battle their way back into the round. Damick's going to have some difficult shots to make here. It's going to be all up to Heady. He's very low health. He tries to make a challenge close on the door. They might be able to stick this. Fresh. Taranike, he's in there. He's doing the job. He's going all the way and he locks it out. And that's going to be the round for Reject. And do not underestimate how difficult that retake can be.
Couple of mistakes made by Talon there. First one, not considering the hatch. We alluded to it earlier. It was soft. There was an alibi playing near it. She opened it. She gets the kill. Secondly, the second mistake, as good a game as he's had, Demick allowed 2 players to cross that long angle because he was trying to hold it quite passively. He needed to hold it aggressively and just keep spraying and spraying and praying that he kills everybody. He allowed 2 people to shoot past. Once they'd retaken that pillar kind of boiler trench area, it was always going to be a win for the defenders. And in the end, they were using one of the players as a meat shield for the diffuser, and they get the round. Really nice retake. As you say, don't underestimate how hard that is, because once those ACOGs are trained on that long angle, you're almost definitely not winning that as a defender.
It's absolutely. It's not an easy one to take back once the diffuser is down. But we're going to be heading now to the mid floor. It is Kitchen. They've not baited me this time. They've seen it through after I wrote it in my notes. Thank you very much, Reject. Now then, is that the catalyst? Is that the spark in the powder keg that they need to get things going here? Is that going to set off fireworks within this game where we see ourselves going all the way to 12? I know there's a couple of lines you'd love to hear out of me, Fresh, and this game is certainly heading in that direction. Talon 5-4 on the scoreboard, but momentum now broken. The brakes applied somewhat from Reject. Can Talon bounce straight back? I would like to say probably, because they've been going very, very well so far, but Reject are certainly going to be buoyed at least by that last round.
Absolutely. It's a round that they may not have won in most circumstances. It's that kind of 5 out of 100 you'll win that in terms of the retake. But it's a round 1, and it's kind of the story of Reject. Now they've got their own little battle going on about Solarium Stairs. However, conversely, look at the utility investment. The Wamai magnets, 3 Jaeger ADSs. It's going to take an absolute barrage to get the player off Solarium Stairs.
For the time being, Reject holding their angles, not getting overly aggressive. As you say, a barrage is going to be needed to deal with this. In goes one nade. Will it be enough? No, Salty still holding on. In comes the second, and we get a beautiful view of it from the top down. Canos able to find his man, and that is step 1 done. They've got Solarium Stairs cleared off. Now, it wasn't enough last time when Reject were able to do that, but if you remember, Demick was able to escape rather than die. Got himself back upstairs and continued the challenge. This may well make it a slightly easier attack for Talon than Reject found.
So when Reject, just drawing comparisons to that Reject attack, their double window player was playing it very passively. Demick has done a very good job at not allowing anybody He's off it now because the drones. I say that. I said he did a very good job of not allowing anybody to cross. He did then, but Aziz was there on bathroom window already. Gets the second kill. And Talon, they have all the map control that they would want.
Candy has been pushed all the way back out of Piano now, playing by that double door. His life's not going to be long-lived if he keeps himself in that position, because you just feel Talon just sort of riding a wave of aggression at the minute, and they'll push forward if the opportunity is there for them. Canos is down to the bottom of trophy stairs, and in comes Soldier to start that vertical work. 45 seconds left on the clock, so they need to be aware of that. The Talon, thinking about how exactly they're going to get into sight and get a diffuser down on the ground, and they need to be aware of these remaining roamers just outside of sight. No time's going to dip himself away as the vertical angles continue. He gets seen and he gets killed by Aziz, who manages to find his man. 5v2, 27 seconds left to go, and Talon, they are in the driving seat here. Soldier manages to find Tadaniki, and that now leaves it all up to Candy. Very difficult position, doing what he can, just holding his drop back down. The diffuser is likely to be planted here. The one punch through the barricade gives him the opportunity to get in and make a challenge. That's 2 kills out of 5. 1v3, diffuser down though, and now you're going to see a different Talon. They're going to retire. They've got the verticals fresh.
It's very difficult retake, especially with that vertical. They know that they've got the crossfires and the verticals. Should Candy find more 1v1 engagements and win them, they've still got the verticals and they've still got time. He knows one's West Main, and Aziz has had a fantastic round there. Gets himself a 3k. More importantly, gets his team the round win to put them on match point.
The momentum was not there for Reject. They managed to get themselves that one round, but Talon straight back into it, as I suggested might be the case. No messing about. They have not taken their foot off the accelerator here, and they want that full 3 points because they know how big it could be for them. Talon looking to be a real force in APAC North here, at least so far. They're going to be certainly on the verge of a second very important win. 6 full points in the first 2 play days, and right up there with Fav.
Just 1 week ago, if we'd have said Fav and Talon, both unbeaten, at the top of the table, alongside Dan Kia, what would you have said to me?
I'd have been hoping for good things out of Talon. I was hoping for good things out of them this year, and it looks like we're going to get them. But out of both teams, to win all 4 games, I'd have said somebody's going to lose at least one.
Yeah. The big question about both of these 2 teams, in my mind at least, was good spells, but consistency issues. And they've both come out the blocks and got 2... Well, we're assuming that Talon are going to get a convincing win. We might not, but assuming they do, both teams will have got convincing wins. And the overall level, the overall kind of floor of APAC North as a complete league has raised significantly in this off-season.
Absolutely, unquestionably. And this is what happens. I felt like we were almost waiting to sort of break the seal. Once you get one team like Dan Kia that come in and start actually really competing with the big boys consistently, it drags everybody up, because who do you think people are scrimming against?
Yep.
You know, they're scrimming against teams like that then, and so they all start raising the bar. And, you know, I've said it countless times, a rising tide raises all ships, and that's exactly what we are seeing in APAC North, and I for one am here for it, because it just keeps it super competitive. Now then, we're going to have a Solarium take coming in again. Reject, interestingly, after losing Bar and Gaming twice in a row, they've chosen to double down on Kitchen this time fresh. They're going to go straight back. It was almost a flawless round that they've just lost to, so they really do need to have something different in the idea tank here.
Yeah, and they didn't adapt when they doubled down on Bar. They didn't adapt here, and it's almost going to be a flawless again. That's 2 entry kills and Tadaniki being down. It's going to rely on Salty to produce some magic. He did in the previous game, but there's a lot of eyes trained at exactly where he is right now.
Tadaniki all the way down in basement will not be collected. I wouldn't imagine. Ooh, if you move quickly, Demic, you're going to get your opportunity. They've had to dip away. They took the initial shots. They want to try and get Tadaniki up. Somehow Take gets away with one, but Demic finds him. Soldier on another. It was actually Tadaniki downed himself with the nitro. We just get the info at the end there as he dies. It pops up as a sort of a self-kill with the nitro, and that tells us all we need to know. It dragged his team out of position to try and pick him up, and it just left Reject on the back foot. Talon, as